In this video, I'm going to talk about charging as a creative service provider, someone doing something creative as a service for others, and how much should you charge, and charging what you're worth. Obviously, historically, creatives have had trouble getting paid what they're worth. In other words, people seem to historically always not give creatives enough money, discount how much they're actually worth and the work they're putting in, and how much, not just time, but skill that it takes, and how much time and work it took to develop those skills. There's the famous story of Picasso's napkin, where Pablo Picasso is sitting in a cafe in Paris. A woman walks up to him and says, "Oh, I'm such a big fan. Would you mind just drawing me something real quick on this napkin?" And hands him a napkin, and he draws something real quick. And then he goes, "That'll be 10,000 francs. And she goes, francs being the former French currency prior to the euro. And she goes, 10,000 francs, but that only took you 10 seconds to draw. And Picasso goes, "No, it took me 40 years. Right? So this is the thing that is not appreciated or seen necessarily, is how much time it took to develop the skills to be able to do something creative or artistic in a short amount of time. And it's the people want to pay creatives an hourly rate, which they're comparing to hourly rates for non-creative tasks. And it just doesn't account for all the time it took to develop the skills to be able to do it in the amount of time that the particular job takes, right? So reason I'm talking about this is I'm going through something right now where I've started to make AI generated videos as a service for clients. So in other words, they'll have some basic idea or like a project or something they want the video for, and then I'll write the script and turn it into a video with AI tools. And to do this well, it takes not only storytelling and writing and filmmaking skills, but then it also takes the skills of working the AI tools. And in certain respects, the AI tools are not that hard to use. In other words, where they are now, you don't need code. You don't need to know code to use some of these tools. But also they're very finicky, and they don't really give you exactly what you want all the time. So you have to spend a lot of time doing different prompts and also just seeing what it gives you, because it generates something new every time, which is somewhat unpredictable. Being that this takes a combination of skills that take a long time to develop, particularly the storytelling, the writing, the filmmaking skills. Those take years. You can learn these AI tools now in a much shorter amount of time. But combining those two is actually a rare skill set right now, and I think deserves to be paid more. So I've heard about people charging $1,000 for 10 seconds of AI generated video. Now, the thing I'm going through right now with the client is I'm only charging $9 per AI generated video. And when he initially asked me how much would a 30-second AI video cost, I said about $500, which is about $9 per second, and then depending on what else was needed to do for that video. And then what the video turned into, what he ended up wanting, was basically first of all, it ended up being 90 seconds of AI video, and then he also wanted me to take an hour-long piece of real footage and find 30 seconds from that, so that I could basically make a fictional conversation between someone from a real video interview and an AI-generated character. So anyway, point is, that all was much bigger job than he initially asked, and so when I came back, I made it, and then I came back with the price, which was about double what I initially said, and it was time length that was over it was double. It was 2 minutes, 6 seconds versus the initial 30 to 60 second quote. And then also it involved going through an hour of real footage and editing that. So it wasn't just the AI content. And then he was like, I thought you said it was $500. And it's, yeah, but that was for 30 to 60 seconds. It's like if you go to a restaurant and order a hamburger, ask how much a hamburger costs, and they tell you, and then you order 2 hamburgers, well, don't you expect that the cost is going to be double the price? Would you be mad at the waitress for not telling you when you ordered 2 hamburgers? Oh, by the way, you realize that you're ordering 2, so when I gave you the price for 1, it's going to be double that. Isn't that assumed? So this is, a little annoying for this current issue that I'm having, but it's like a much bigger issue that I've been facing my whole creative career. And I think in general, most people that are doing something creative or artistic in nature as a service, I think, face this issue of being paid enough and how to deal with it. What do you do about it? Because yes, on the one hand, you can say, okay, well, these are my rates and that's how much it costs. And if you don't want to pay it, find someone else. But also you got to eat, right? You got to get paid. So if you're doing that, but no one's hiring you, then is that the best move? Or should you take less than you're worth in order to actually make some money and be able to eat? And I think that's quite a conundrum for a lot of creatives because, yes, you hear this advice of just set your price and then the people will come pay you for it. And that can be true in certain cases, but it's not always true. And there is a thing going on with, because you have the internet and because you can access workers, if it's something remote that can happen remote, you can access people all over the world. And obviously if they live in certain countries where the cost of living is lower and all that, well, they'll take less money for a similar job. And in this case, something like I'm talking about, comedic video, well, not everyone over the world can do that. They won't have the right, not just storytelling skills, but comedy skills. Comedy is very culture specific, right? So you couldn't really hire someone from anywhere in the world to do this gig that I'm talking about because it's a comedy AI generated video. But I think that people just have that expectation that they can get someone from anywhere for less money, right? That they can go on Fiverr or a site like that and get someone for less money. So there's just like this, attitude that we could get someone for less money, which causes them to balk at reasonable prices, which I think are reasonable prices, what I'm giving. And this is something I faced also when I was in the film industry in the US, because people didn't want to pay me to write scripts, or they want to pay me like the proper amount, or they want to pay me for rewriting scripts, when actually you should be paid obviously every time you work on something. But they wanted me to rewrite a script without pay, and then when the movie gets set up, then they'll pay me, right? But in order for them to get money to get paid for themselves, they need a good script, but they don't want to pay for it. So this is like a common thing that goes on in the U.S. Hollywood studio film industry, where they try to get writers to work for free as much as possible. Happens a lot. And the thing is that it's so competitive to get jobs as a writer in Hollywood that a lot of writers are willing to work for free because they're just trying to find some way to get into that industry and to end up getting something made, ideally. And it's so competitive, and there's few spots available for how many people are trying to get in, that people will write for free. And so the producers and studio executives and so on, they know this and they take advantage of it. They're like, why would we pay if we can get something for free? So, in other words, I've been dealing with this for 20 years at this point, my whole adult work life after college. And it's tough. It's a struggle. It's hard to keep dealing with it and not keep dealing with it and not get resentful of everybody and cynical. And when you're resentful of people that you're working with or working for, obviously that doesn't lead to a good working relationship. And if you don't have a good working relationship, then obviously it usually goes south at some point, doesn't last. And I think that looking back now, I've done that a number of times, essentially not intentionally, but I've taken less than I'm worth or what I thought I was worth at least, and got resentful because of that, because I was doing a lot of work and not being properly compensated, I thought. And so then resentment grew, and that somehow led to the relationship not lasting, the work relationship. And in hindsight, what would I have done differently? I don't know. Maybe could be charging more. I could have charged more, asked for more money. But I think in a lot of cases that wouldn't have gone anywhere. And in certain cases, I have asked for more money and people were like, that's too expensive, and they didn't hire me at all. So it does feel like a catch-22, or it has for me, because I've tried both things where I'll take less money, but then I get resentful and it doesn't work out so well. Or I'll ask for more money and then they'll just say no and they won't hire me. I believe the best solution is to try to get more jobs and develop a portfolio of work for less money but not get resentful. Like, in other words, take jobs for less money, even do jobs for free, if I think that adding that to my portfolio will benefit me, or relationship with that person will benefit me. But not getting resentful, and also expecting that it won't work out some of the time. In other words, it won't end up being a good piece for my portfolio, or the relationship won't end up going anywhere. And so I ended up working for less money or for free for nothing. I don't get anything out of it, even long term. I have to expect that's going to happen in some cases. And just, if I do it for enough, and for enough projects, then some of them will work out in the long run. Some of them won't, some of them will. So that's not what I'm thinking now. But also, trying to find that middle ground of where I can charge more and still get the jobs. Try how to charge more and get the jobs. But I think that more of a portfolio will help with that. And so what happened when I was in the film industry is the portfolio, for the most part, were scripts. In other words, not finished movies. I made one movie, wrote and directed it. It's on Amazon Prime or Apple TV if you want to check it out. But otherwise, the portfolio was just scripts, which is not the same as finished movie. Saying, here's like the scripts I wrote to get a job. Yes, that is how it works. People read scripts in order to consider hiring you for whatever script they want. But it's not the same as having the finished movie. That goes a lot further. And translating that now to what I'm doing now, back then, of course, in making movies, that was super expensive. It wasn't like I could just go make a bunch of movies for free for my portfolio. But now with AI-generated videos, I can make more videos for not completely free because the tools cost money, but relatively cheap. It just takes my time and effort. But it's not the same as if I was trying to make a movie for free that I'd actually shoot with cameras and crew and cast and all that. Point being is that this medium, AI-generated video, I can make a portfolio for less money, or not a lot of money, or even free. And I'm wondering where else that can apply for you. If you're watching and you're a creative, is there a way, depends on what you do, of course, but is there a way where you can fill out your portfolio in a way that doesn't cost you a lot of money, but could help you get other jobs? And it's sometimes that could be like you're doing just something your own. Like if I were just to make a little movie that I like, which I can, if you look in the shorts on this channel, you'll see just these little AI comedy shorts of 10, 20 seconds that I made for fun. That could be a version of it, but more than likely it's doing it as a service for a client, because that's just different. And then people that want to hire you will see that part of your portfolio as different than just stuff you made, as a demo on your own, because then it's, oh, that's for a client. That means I can order something specific to what we want and you'll be able to deliver it, which is not inherently obvious if you're just making your own stuff for fun. So I think that is different to actually develop a portfolio of work for clients. And if you can't get someone to hire you or even bring you on, you can just do it on spec. People make like commercials on spec. There's an AI commercial, there's an AI filmmaker, or a filmmaker that is also making stuff with AI. He's not an artificial intelligence himself. He's not an AI filmmaker, but he's a guy using AI tools, Dave Clark, and he made an Adidas commercial on spec, meaning just for free, right? And ended up getting hired. I don't know if it was by Adidas or another company, but he ended up getting hired to make one for a company because he made this one on spec. So in other words, you can make stuff for clients even if they're not your actual clients. You just make it on your own, but it's tailored to their specific brand or whatever their project or company is. And that demonstrates that you can make something for a client. So point being, or where am I ending this video? Just to say, it's I think always been a struggle for creatives to get paid appropriately. I'm going through it now. I've been going through it for the last 20 years. So if you're going through that, or you will in the future, just know we're all going through that, all us creatives. And see if you can somehow develop this portfolio of for client work and then raise your prices. So it's much harder to charge people more without this sort of portfolio of for client work. That's my opinion. Putting it into action myself. We'll see, obviously, if it works. Try it and tune back in. I'm going to keep you posted on how it goes for me. Daily videos.